everyone, welcome back to my channel. Jumping right into business. Excuse you. Jumping right into business. I've had a terrible week. I've had a really tough week at work, mentally and emotionally. And I have today totally free, so I am going to try and turn that around, at least for the weekend. Full transparency, back in end of June, early July, my field was undergoing some really tough changes. And it was really stressful for myself, for my job, for the company I'm at. And I was like, if I don't have a creative outlet right now, I'm going to freak out. I bit the bullet and I decided to start a booktube channel because it was something that I had thought about for a really long time. And I was like, you know what? Everything's fleeting. Let me just do what I want to do anyway and not think about it. And now, pretty similar issue is happening with my job and with my field. And so it's really stressful. It makes me really emotional because I do have a job that I care about. I work with a lot of people that I care about. And so I've just been having a really tough week. And what better to combat that than a good old fashioned self care day? So I'm going to take you guys with me on just kind of a day in the life of someone trying to keep their mental health up. Yeah, that's kind of what today is going to be. I don't know if you guys can see him just in my lap. Give you behind the scenes to me and the pillow that I sit on the floor. So I just finished up a little bit of work for the day, finished getting ready. I'm going to head out to the gym and move around because that always helps me. I was always like, oh, going to the gym is so overrated. And then I started going in college and as an adult, and I was like, oh, going to the gym makes me feel so much better about myself. So I'm going to go do some exercise and then come home, freshen up, and it is a beautiful, beautiful day out today. I don't get fall weather, so it is in like the low 80s by me. So I'm gonna go sit by the water and bring some books, and I'm just gonna sit and read, and then I'm gonna come home for dinner, and I'm gonna make boxed mac and cheese and watch a movie with my fiance and my dog and my cat. That's my day, and I'm really hoping that that'll give me a nice mental break from some of the inner stress I've been feeling. So, as far as books go, I do have some things that I'm in the middle of. About halfway through They're Going to Love You, which is a literary fiction life story. I'm listening to this one on audio and I am really, really loving it. We follow this woman who is in the professional ballet sphere. She's a choreographer, and we get a lot of just snapshots of her life. We bounce around on her timeline, being a child, being a teen, being a young adult, being an adult, and a lot of it is viewed through the lens of the relationship with her father. Our main character's father is gay, and he's been in a relationship with a man named James for her entire life. And growing up, she only spent a few weeks out of the year with her father in New York City at his beautiful home, and that home is a really special place to her. On kind of the backdrop of her growing up, whenever she returns to her father's home and is with him and with his partner, the AIDS crisis is unfolding around them. We also are getting perspectives from her as an adult when her father is on his deathbed. He has a slew of health problems, and we find out that they haven't been speaking for nearly 20 years, and we don't know why. And all of these different fragments start to come together. I have found that I really enjoy books about ballerinas and like the professional dance world. I might throw it on at the gym, get a little further. And then on my Kindle, I'm reading another literary fiction about two sisters and their relationship with their father. This makes it sound like I have some father issues to unpack. I don't. I have a great relationship with my dad. Hi, Dad, if you're watching. But I do love a story that unpacks family dynamics and familial relationships. So on my Kindle, I'm reading The Deeper the Water, the Uglier the Fish, which I think is a really cool title. I really like how long and dramatic it is. Like I said, that is a book about these sisters who are living with their father for the first time in their life, also in New York City, oddly enough. And their mother has recently undergone a mental health crisis and is in a long-term stay on a psychiatric unit, which is why they are living with their father for the first time. At the point I'm at in the book, also about 50%, it's appearing as if everything is going to start descending into chaos. We started off with a pretty steady back and forth perspective between the two sisters, and as we got closer to the midway point, we started getting a ton of different perspectives from people who knew their parents. Every once in a while, we were getting flashbacks of when the mom was young. And it's just a really interesting book about perspective and how the different people in our lives view us through different lenses. I sometimes feel like it needs a little more grounding. It needs to narrow its scope a little bit because it kind of feels like everything's out here and like there's so many moving parts. So I'm interested to see how it's going to come together because if the author pulls it off, that's phenomenal, but I think it'll be tough to pull off. Now it comes to what physical book am I going to bring? And here's where I descend into chaos a little bit. I also have 2 book clubs that I need to read for. One is in a few weeks, so that one is a little bit more pressing, and then the other one we don't have a date set because it's just me and my cousin, so we're pretty flexible, but they have both started it already. So I was the last one to read it last time too, so I need to get on it. But the first one coming up, we're reading The Other Valley by Scott Alexander Howard. There's 3 valleys. One is 20 years in the future, one is 20 years in the past, and our main character is essentially working to become part of like border control that determines who can go into these other valleys because you're allowed to go if you don't intermingle with time. And then she sees something that makes her realize like, oh, something is going to happen to someone I care about in the future, and she has to deal with, hey, do I follow my own heart and try to prevent that, or do I follow like the ethical code of what I'm trying to be? So I could start that and be productive. I could also start Monstrilio for my cousin book club by Adrada Simona Cardova. I really want to read this one during spooky season. This is a literary novel, kind of a grief story about this mother who loses a child and she saves a part of that child and essentially grows it until it becomes sentient and it becomes this little guy on the cover. I've heard wonderful things. I'm really interested to start this. So again, I could start this and be productive. I could also, bear with me, I told you this is getting crazy. I could also continue a series. I think I'm going to bring this one regardless. This is a graphic novel. This is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I had to return this book from the library and then I went back and they still had it. So I checked it out again. I could start Buffalo Hunter Hunter, which I really want to start. And then while I was there, I went to 2 different libraries this week because my local library has been closed for renovations for a really long time and it just opened back up like 2 weeks ago. And so I went for a little dopamine hit. And then I went to a different library on my lunch break on a different day this week. So lots of library books, 8 to be exact. But I picked up another Stephen Graham Jones, My Heart is a Chainsaw, which I also really want to read. And then I picked up this thinking it was fantasy and it's historical fiction. I'm going to try to cover the cover as least as possible, but my library's listed. Nicked. It's about a gay monk and it's short, so that could be a good one. And then I picked up Severance by Ling Ma, which I've wanted to read for a really long time. Okay, I'm going to say this one I'm not going to bring today. And then another one, I picked up The Unworthy, which is like a spooky nuns in jail story, I think. Nuns for sure. Jail, we're not sure. And then this one's I'm probably not bringing, but I checked it out anyway, and that's The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyon. So another kind of epic fantasy. I'm a mood reader at heart. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10, 11 options to choose from. Believe it or not, I'm not capable of starting and finishing 11 books in one day. Wish I was. So I think what I might do, I might just like bring a few and kind of let myself like sample them because there's a few here where I'm like, I could start them and not even want to continue the book at all. I guess you'll just have to keep watching and you'll have to wait in suspense to see what my ultimate decision is. So I will see you guys at my next check-in. Okay, I made it to the park. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous day out. I think this will be a big dopamine hit. I got here a little later than I wanted to, but I'm trying to give myself some grace because I went to the gym, I did some chores, I freshened up, so a win is a win. I definitely brought an obscene amount of books for one person to bring to like a 4-hour park excursion, but that's okay. Did end up bringing pumpkin heads. I think I might start with that for cozy little fall read. Kindle, as anticipated. I totally forgot that I'm also in the middle of another book, so I brought that one with me. I brought The Broken Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. 2 years later, finally continuing this series, and I'm really, really liking it. It has a really cool setting, and a really interesting main character, so probably gonna pick that one up. I brought The Unworthy to kind of just like test out and see if I end up liking it. I did pick The Productive Choice, and I brought my 2 book club reads. So goal is to just kind of bop back and forth between a few reads and hopefully start one of my book club reads and enjoy the beautiful, beautiful day. So enjoy. So I'm about 90 pages into Pumpkin Heads, and it's really cute so far. It has I really like the art style. It's very cozy, and it is just a quintessential fall read. It's about these 2 best friends who have worked at the pumpkin patch together all through high school, and it's their favorite thing that they do. They look forward to it every year, and this is their last year and their last night working at the pumpkin patch, and they're trying to kind of seize the day, do all the things they never did, and especially the main character, Josiah, is going to finally talk to the girl that he's had a crush on for 4 years. So his best friend, Deja, is helping him do that, and we're just watching them explore the pumpkin patch on Halloween, and it is just really sweet so far. It continues to be absolutely beautiful out here, and this is definitely this was definitely a much needed mental health day. I'm at least feeling even keel for now, so that's great. No, I'm feeling better than that. Right now I'm feeling really good. It doesn't solve any of the problems, but it at least is a temporary mental break, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. Finished Pumpkin Heads. It was really cute, and I really enjoyed just the friendship and the coziness of the setting and the art. So definitely a good, quick, and charming read for the fall season. And then I decided to go ahead and do kind of a taste test of The Unworthy and just start it and see if I liked it. And unfortunately, the very first page has a visceral description of cockroaches, and so that is an immediate turn off for me. Those are like my number one fear, that in outer space. I feel like people shouldn't be there, to put it simply. Not that I'm anti-research or anti-science, just like I don't want to go to space. That's a tangent, but I really, really hate roaches. I'm worried that I have like a genuine phobia of them, because I like can't even pick up dead ones to clean them up, and I feel physically nauseous when I see them. Like I can't even look at the roach emoji without feeling really grossed out. And unfortunately I will not be doing exposure therapy for those. I refuse. So I kind of skipped the first page because I really couldn't take that. And then the next few pages just weren't really wowing me, and I'm pretty ruthless about DNFing, especially because I do read so often from the library. I don't have as much pressure to like read things because I bought them. I try to be really intentional about what books I do buy, but The benefit of using the library is you can DNF really quickly because there's no money lost on your part, is how I view it. To quote that one, I think it's Kim Cattrall, where she's like, I don't ever want to be in a situation that I don't want to be in, or like something like that. That's kind of how I feel about books, is I'm like, we've got limited time on this earth, limited time to read books. Why would I spend it forcing myself through something that I'm not enjoying or I feel really mid about? And sometimes I push through because you never know, and it could get better, or sometimes it's still worth it to read something that's just fine. But yeah, I'm not afraid to DNF a book for that reason. So I think The Unworthy is not for me, but I can't get over the roaches. Oh my god, they make me feel ill. So I think I'm gonna read some of the Broken Kingdoms next and make headway there, and then I'll do kind of a time check and see if I want to start. Just based on the vibes alone, I'm leaning a little bit more on The Other Valley than Monstrelio right now. This is a really good demonstration of how much of a mood reader I am, that I'm like, let me just switch between 5 different books in 45 minutes. So yeah, next point of attack is going to be the Broken Kingdoms and enjoying some more of the sunshine. So I just reached page 96, chapter 5 of The Broken Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. This is book 2 in the Inheritance. Yes, I just lost my page. This is book 2 in the Inheritance trilogy. I think I said my page number out loud. I read book 1 like 2 years ago, and I got the rest of the trilogy that same year for Christmas, and I haven't picked it up until now, but I really am enjoying it. N.K. Jemisin obviously has won the Hugo Award 3 times, but she's a phenomenal writer, and I love the way her writing brings her fantasy world to life. The setting is really cool. We have just a bunch of godlings running around causing chaos. This book picks up kind of in the future after the end of book 1. I do think book 1 can be read as a standalone. I think I can say a little bit more about this book despite the fact that it is a sequel, because it takes place kind of in the future after the end of book 1. So there is influence so far, but enough of the setup of the plot stands on its own. So we start off with our main character, Ori, who is blind except to magic. So anytime someone is magic or magic is used, she can see that and perceive it, and it's a really unique power, and people don't really realize she always has it. I don't know if she grew up as some form of nobility, but she definitely grew up with parents that had some type of power and wealth, and she is no longer attached to them. She's living in our main setting just as kind of an artist selling her work in the city. And in this city, there has started to be a string of murders of godlings, which is kind of uncommon. Godlings can't really die, and they are. Simultaneously, she kind of invites this man that she meets on the street into her home just because she thinks he needs a place to stay. And he appears to have some form of magic, and we eventually learn who he is a little ways in. But we just saw her own magic take a really interesting twist at the end of chapter 4. Starting this book, the setup felt very typical fantasy setup. We have our mortal main character, we have our magical people in power, and we've got a setup for a mystery and a setup for some type of relationship between her and this man that she brings into her home. But with this introduction of her magic, I can see a whole different direction that the story is going to go in. And I knew that this book was not going to follow a standard mundane plot. I just know N.K. Jemisin doesn't really do that. So, having seen what I've seen now, I'm very interested to see where this book goes next. I'm thinking I'm going to read for a little bit longer, and then there is a really beautiful neighborhood that I'm near right now, and I might just listen to some music and go for a nice little walk as well. I'm thinking of listening to the new Olivia Dean album because I've been really enjoying that. Really scratches an itch with the instrumentals, and her voice is so good. So that's kind of my plan of attack. But yeah, I might read a chapter or two more of this, really enjoying it, and then kind of pack up and go for a walk. Yeah, this just feels like a very healing day, which is exactly what I needed. Yeah, this was a really tough week for a lot of different reasons. And on a sillier note, I found out in the middle of the week there was a study put out that a ton of protein powders and like protein supplements contain just a shit ton of lead. Imagine you're having a literally terrible week and then you find out the protein powder that you're drinking like 3 to 4 times a week contains just so much lead. And it's like, oh, well, great. I was worried about work and now I have to worry about lead. What does that even do to me? Um, Luckily, I will say the one that I take after the gym is it said you can have it 3 to 4 times a week, and that's usually how often I have it. So I might switch, but it's like, come on, don't take away my glorified chocolate milk. I'm a girl through and through in that I like my meals to be very carbohydrate centric. And so my chocolate milk is my main source of protein. I can't lose that right now. I guess I'll just deal with the consequences of a little bit of extra lead. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to my reading and check in with you later. Today ended up being really healing. Today was exactly what I needed. I feel like I haven't had a day in a while to fully decompress and go slow. I feel like I've just been very busy in my personal life and in my professional life, and today was really needed. I I feel so much better after today. Did it solve my problems? No, but I'm glad that I at least feel better for a day. I got to sit and read a couple of books in the sun in some gorgeous weather. As I'm sure you can tell from the clips, I don't live somewhere where I get the fall leaves and the fall chill, but I do have some beautiful scenery, and picking up pumpkin heads was really nice because it really transported me to just a brisk fall day, which I really appreciated. And it was a really cute story. I got to DNF a book, which I still count as a win. I got it off my TBR, and I got to continue reading a series that I have been wanting to pick up again for years, and I'm happy that I'm really enjoying book two. I did get to go for a little bit of a walk and listen to the Olivia Dean album that came out a few weeks ago, and that was really nice too because I feel like I haven't had time recently to just sit and listen to music. I ended up sitting by the water for a little bit and just listening, and it just felt really nice to slow down. And I came home and did a little logic puzzle book that my friend Whitney got me. I caught up on some YouTube, had some lemonade, spent some time with my pets. I locked in and did a bunch of chores too, which felt really good because they just needed to get done. And I felt like I actually had mental space to do them, which was great. So thank you all for just joining me on this kind of self-care cup filling day. I am going to change into some sweatpants. I'm going to cook some stovetop mac and cheese. I'm going to watch a movie with my fiance, and I'm gonna carry on with my weekend and try to keep this feeling of calm maintained while I can. So if you're still here, do not leave a cockroach emoji in the comments. Leave literally any other emoji. Keep your fingers crossed that I can flush all of the extra lead from my system. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.